Hello. So I'm very, very tired, and I just wanted to give an update that I've been not wanting to do because it's kind of like a real time situation type thing where I'm not talking in hindsight. I'm currently going through the stress right now. And in a way, I feel like as much as I'm going through it right now, I think things where I am going through it right now will end up being the more helpful videos in the future, both for me to look back on and for anybody else to look back on. But yes, so this is the gist. Last Wednesday, I had my first NHS appointment regarding my vertigo and vestibular neuritis symptoms and all that. It was a very weird and odd experience for me. This is going to sound so bizarre, but okay, first of all, there's a few points I want to make. As somebody who works for the NHS and who has friends who work for the NHS, as somebody who's worked in admin, reception roles, as somebody who's done one clinical role, that is the perspective I'm coming from. I'm not coming from the perspective of somebody who's never worked there, and I currently still do in admin and have a lot of do a lot of over the phone stuff with patients. There's something really in my eye. Anyway, with that said, as much as I'm quite an anxious person, and at times, patient work can be a little bit nerve-wracking for me, I feel fairly confident that when I speak to a patient, I want to be doing my best by them in every single sense. So, and I feel that the colleagues that I work with very much kind of live by that same ethos. They speak to the patient in such a lovely way. And to me, I think that's how it should be. I think if you choose to work for the NHS with vulnerable people, you need to be able to communicate well. And essentially, where I'm going to is the fact that on my first audiology appointment and on lots of my other appointments, the way I have been spoken to has been like dirt. And I don't know what this is all about. I don't know what this is all about. I also know it's not just me. Anecdotally, my friends, including the friends who work for the NHS, find this to be a very similar experience that they have, and it's shocking. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's not cool. It's really, really not cool, because the problem is that what I have been finding has been happening is that I have been bumbling along absolutely fine in life, and then I'll have an appointment, I will get spoken to like scum, and then for the next week, I'm not exaggerating here, my symptoms will flare up and I'll spend about a week freaking recovering. Because my symptoms are very, what an angle, my symptoms are very, they flare with stress, absolutely flare with stress. So I kind of end up having like a twofold situation where I'm dealing with the upset of the way I was spoken to, but also I feel physically a lot more vulnerable. So it's really shit. It's really, 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 really shit. So I've been so reluctant to speak about this, as I say, because this is happening in real time and I have no idea what's around the corner at all. But at my appointment, effectively, bearing in mind that, as you can see in my last video, is pretty much me being like, look, you know, I'm not really bothered by my symptoms. At the moment, I am, because they've got quite a bit worse. But again, it's stress. It's made worse by stress. Basically, what this person told me was that there was nothing wrong with my head, nothing wrong with my ears at all. Now, that obviously sounds like a good thing. Of course it sounds like a good thing. There's a few things here that I need to say. One is the fact that this man, it felt like almost every single thing I said to him, he was like, okay, so for example, one of the things was that he said that what I was describing was not vertigo. He was like, the room is not spinning, so that's not vertigo. So what are you feeling? And I said, well, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how to describe it then. I thought it was vertigo. And the thing is, I'm telling you, it is vertigo, because there's lots of different kinds of vertigo. And when I started getting these symptoms, I saw so many clinicians. Not one of them told me that what I was experiencing wasn't vertigo. And they asked so many questions, and I told them exactly what I was feeling. It was 100% fucking vertigo. I'm sorry, like, okay. But he was also saying that there's no vestibular neuritis, no vestibular migraines. I'm like, wow, okay. So what the hell? What the hell is going on then? What the hell's going on then? Because 2 ear, nose, throat consultants have told me that it was both. Both, not neither, both. And I wish I could find it, but one of those consultants ran these tests. I think the tests are called hint tests. Ran these tests, and he has it written down that I tested positive in these tests. So as far as he could see, when I was at the height of my symptoms, even when I was feeling quite well, he said it showed vestibular neuritis on my left side. So anyway, this man told me no. He said effectively, it's all caused by my emotions. So that's good. So he then said, and at this point I was like, okay, I'm going to call your bluff then. So he was saying, you need to get on top of your stress. And I'm like, okay. So I said to him, would you recommend maybe if I did some cognitive behavioural therapy or something? He goes, well, what do you think? I swear to God, this is enough to drive me absolutely up the wall. And it does flare up my stress, because it feels like what he was saying is that stress can absolutely cause dizziness. Okay, cool. But the thing is that I remember saying to the previous consultant, I was saying, you know, is this stress induced? Is this stress induced? He said, if this was stress induced, I'd have half of the UK in my office. And I'm like, yeah, I hear that. Also, I am a stress head. I've always been a stress head. I've always been a stress head. Since I was a little child, I've always been a stress head. I've never had vertigo in my life until I got COVID in December. And that's when my symptoms started appearing. And it literally, post-viral ear-itis problems is a thing. Sorry, I'm so angry. And the reason I'm angry is because basically I said to him, I'm sorry, I'm just a bit confused because I've been told one totally opposite thing to what you're saying. And now you're telling me that what they said was totally wrong. And he was like, well, we can run further tests if you want. And he kind of was looking at me like this, as if to say, like, you know, if it will settle your head. And I at this point, I was just like, oh, I don't know, because I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. Like, what is going on? Anyway, he was like, yeah, okay, so we'll run some more tests. Then he said, so you've got tinnitus in your right ear. Now, for me, this is totally intermittent. At the moment, I get it like a few times a month. Around December, at the end of last year, I was having it daily, and it was loud, and it was not very nice. He said, he said, have you had an MRI scan? And I was like, no. He was like, well, would you like an MRI scan? And he was like, for your tinnitus? And I was like, well, to be honest with you, the tinnitus is not really bothering me. And he goes, well, it's not really a case of whether it's bothering you. You're 30 years old, you shouldn't have tinnitus. And I'm like, okay, well, don't give me the option then. Tell me I need an MRI scan. Honestly. So fucking hell. I'm sorry. This guy spoke to me like dirt. And I'm just like, the thing that's a problem is that I can feel currently in my head, I can feel like deep within my ear, despite him telling me there's nothing wrong, I can feel deep within my ear a weird sensation that is exactly what I felt when it was all very bad. And I've also got the vertigo, feeling like it's returning. So anyway, I have an MRI scan this Wednesday, and even just thinking about it is making me stressed, honestly, because I have claustrophobia. So I'm really dreading it, and I kind of wish I didn't have it, because it's making me really stressed, and I do feel that the symptoms are getting worse because of it. Here's the thing, at the end of the day, I totally have never felt that my stress doesn't exacerbate the symptoms. I've never felt like it doesn't exacerbate the symptoms. It's just simply the fact that one of the consultants told me that without there being something actually wrong with my inner ear, then this wouldn't actually be an issue. You know, there has to actually be something wrong in order for stress to flare it up. This guy is saying it can come totally from stress. That might well be the case. That might well be the case. However, to all the people out there with vestibular neuritis, I'm feeling a bit like, well, do I have vestibular neuritis? Apparently I do. I've been told I have by 2 people. And it totally, totally feels like it. It totally feels like it. And I'm guessing that if any of you guys have watched my videos or anything, you know, anybody who watches this, who also has vestibular neuritis, will be like, yeah, that's what I feel. Ugh. I think it's just the fact that it feels like what I went through was so incredibly difficult to kind of almost, it almost feels like that whole experience is like being somehow erased for me. Look, if it's just stress, I'll take that. But something that does annoy me is the fact that, like, they don't then give me any advice on what to do about stress. And I do actively a lot to try and combat my stress. But it's like, clearly I need a bit more help. I'm sorry, guys. Like, like you can tell me time after time after time to get on top of my stress. What if I can't? What if I can't? I need more help. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, this guy was very supercilious and wanky and twatty and cunty, just everything. So yeah, I've got my MRI scan on Wednesday. I'm just not really a happy bunny. I'm just not a happy bunny. And the reason I'm not happy bunny is because at least with the diagnosis I knew what to do. Now I just don't know what to do, and I'm pissed off because I got spoken to like shit. So I'm just kind of like, yeah. I think once the MRI scan is over and my stress has kind of gone down, I'll be back to being able to be like, okay, let's get back on track. What I will say though is that regardless, the one thing I know he is wrong about is the fact that I didn't have vertigo, because yes, I did, and yes, I do. And at the end of the day, you know, I've been told I have vestibular neuritis. That is totally what it feels like I have. Totally. And vestibular migraines, totally what it feels like I have. But in theory, guys, in theory, let's say that this guy was correct and there was no neuritis there, which I still do not know whether to believe. Let's say that's the case. Well, if that's the case, then I still stand by the fact that all the things I've done to help my symptoms and what I deem as vestibular neuritis have been really, really helpful. Stress flares it up for me, but the physiotherapy was a game changer, and de-stressing is also a game changer. But yeah, I'm finding life quite a bit harder at the moment because my symptoms are worse, and it's also horrible symptoms being worse whilst also being treated with less respect, and also sort of being told that you don't have a thing that you are so certain that you have, and that people have told you have, and that they did tests, they ran tests, and you did have at least, 2 months ago, or two to 3 months ago. I just honestly, it's ironic that they keep telling me to de-stress, because the way they speak to me is like I am a 5-year-old. It is genuinely like I'm a 5-year-old. For example, he goes, "What do you do for a living?" I told him what I do for a living. "Where do you do that?" Told him which hospital I worked at. "Oh, so why have you come here then?" "Because this is my local hospital." Why are we having this conversation? What does this have to do with anything? Okay. I just don't even. I just don't even. This is why I keep saying, take in someone to go in with you. They check themselves. If there's another head in the room, they check themselves. They don't do this shit. And I need to start following my own advice. So, we'll see what happens. I hope that regardless, my videos are still helpful, but we'll see. I guess this is going to be a bit more of an ongoing journey than I thought. And I'm really nervous about the MRI scan, for quite a few different reasons. My ear, by the way, my left ear, my problem side, it clicks a lot. I don't know if any of you guys get that, where it clicks, like the tube that connects your ear and throat. It clicks a lot when my symptoms are bad. Anyway, I'm gonna go, and I'm quite nervous for this week, but I'll keep you posted.